So if you've been to my website, spiritgate.com, and you read the About Suzanne page, I quickly see there was a time when I was in graduate school. I was a neurophysiology graduate student. And in my biography, I think what that did is that taught me how to think scientifically. I also worked at Sloan Kettering Cancer Center as a researcher doing basic research. And every day we'd have this experiment that would take like 8 hours. You had to really be there on time if you wanted to leave on time at night, where we took cell culture, human cancer cells, and we did things to them. We centrifuged it out, anyway, we did all these procedures all day long. We had to be very meticulous. And then we would find this little micro dot of understanding about the phospholipid membrane surrounding the cells and how that, and that's part of the issue of cancer, is how the cell membrane operates. So I did that research for about a year, and before then I did 3 years. I was in medical school basically. So I wasn't a medical student. I was a neurophysiology graduate student taking classes with medical students. So a part of me is just steeped with Western medical research methods, and clarifying boundaries so you can make a little bit of progress with understanding how things work. And when I was growing up, they thought that the psychological sciences, like psychology, was a pseudoscience. And I've been noticing lately on YouTube, maybe it's just the algorithms, I'm just getting all this biohacking YouTube things about how to hack your habits, how to hack your behaviors, how to hack your trauma responses. All these psychological things it's now kind of common knowledge that you can actually research psychological, mental, emotional phenomenon and apply different therapies to it and get results in a certain percentage of people, and understand how to help people with psychological interventions. And then, but I think that our culture is still lagging behind in feeling that there could be something objective. So, there's objective, like when I was doing my cell cultures, we would get results that, like the machines told us this is what happened, and so it was real. And then psychological research became real and objective. There was an objectivity to our subjectivity that you could measure, and then you could, hypothesize things and make it a little better. And by the way, if you know how to cycle, just start cycling right now while I'm talking. Okay, good. So, but what I think is lacking right now is the treating with seriousness of spiritual science. Okay, often it was just sort of taken for granted, like our ancestors. They didn't hypothesize about certain prayers or certain spiritual. They were so embedded in a spiritual framework of life that it just wouldn't occur to them to think about it and to philosophize about it and to decide if this was the right way to approach it or not. But as history's gone along, we've become more and more and more and more and more physical. We've become less spiritual as a culture, and it's allowed us to have tremendous objectivity with the physical world. Make airplanes that fly, make nuclear bombs that blow up, make good. All right, so what I was talking about was the objectivity of spirituality and how you can actually do spiritual scientific research. And part of this is having an objective look at your thinking. All right, so not just what you're feeling, but at your thinking. And this is sort of why I do these little talks before we actually go into the guided visualization, because what I've discovered is that the principle of resonance on the physical level acts a certain way. So like a tuning fork, you hit one tine of a tuning fork, the other tine vibrates similarly. That's an example of resonance. And when you actually think thoughts, And so then there's, okay, so that's physical resonance, right? Emotional resonance is where you are in a social situation where you feel comfortable, like you resonate with the other people. That's an example. Spiritual resonance happens when you think a similar idea. You don't even have to agree with it. You just have to connect with a similar idea. And that creates a spiritual link. And what I've found is that resonance is how distance healing works. So I'd invite you to not only just listen to my words now and think about what I'm thinking about, just because it's interesting, but because it forms a bond with us. And then I'd like you to do your own spiritual research with this distance healing. Okay. And how you do spiritual research is the same way you do physical research. You create a hypothesis, and then you do something, and then you observe the results. So some hypotheses. Oh, and so if you do it the very same way all the time, you're not really doing research. You're just sort of showing up, and you might not get the nuances. And there seems to be a truism. What I've researched spiritually is that if I'm not making new inroads, if I'm not doing something new with my relationship to the unseen world, uh, there's a barrier and a block. So I'm inviting you to do this not to be smart, not to be resonant, but so that it will work. And resonance is a way to think of it. So think of how we're going to be doing a guided visualization, and it's a similar visualization every time, right? But if you change something about how you're doing it, and then observe the results. So you could change, and we're going to be doing spinning. If you're not already spinning, I'm going to tell you in a few minutes how to spin. You could change the direction, the this, the that, the other, and there might be something fresher that happens there. You could hydrate yourself more. You could get rid of distractions and be fully present. Just think now, like, how could I interact with this distance healing in a fresh way, maybe a slightly new way or a deeper way, a more intimate way than I've ever done before? And probably as I said that, something occurred to you of how you could scientifically observe this distance healing process, how you could witness it, how you could be the witnesser of this process. Tweak something in your thinking or your feeling or your body, um, and like maybe go to a different room, see if it happens different, if you're in a different location, or if maybe it upsets it and it doesn't work. So you're really into the search for truth, not, you don't really care that it works better. I mean, you want it to work better. You're hoping that it would work better, but you're not believing that it will work better. So let's take the example of um, you're going to sit up straighter than usual. Okay, I think that's available to most people. So we're going to sit up straighter than we were. And we're going to notice if this posture affects what happens in this distance healing. Now, if you're new, anything you do is new and fresh, so you don't have to worry so much about breaking habits. But there's some people in this group. There's a core of us that come here almost every single solitary week of our lives and do this, and that's where you start being like what I was doing in graduate school, just or when I worked at Sloan Kettering, is doing the same experiment but tweaking something about it and then observing the results, and then being able to hang on to those results and build on them. All right, so afterwards, let me know what you think of this idea of spiritual science, of being the witnesser in a way that there's an objectivity to our thinking that actually creates change. I've got another minute. Yeah, there are examples of it, like homeopathy. You can do homeopathic preparations in a fertilizer and put it on your land, and the plants grow better. And like, that's something you can experiment with. It has been experimented with. And like, isn't that interesting? The mechanism is not really understood, but there's some ideas about how that would work. There are certain people that say that you go to certain holy temples, and you'll have a, or maybe you'll go out into nature. Like, there's certain power spots on the earth or in culture that let you feel that connection to the divine or to yourself or to your aliveness in a fuller way. And you can test those things. So we're going to do this guided visualization. I'm going to read the names, and I'd like you to observe. I'd like you to change something. You can sit up straighter if that's what's available to you. You could hydrate. You could go to a different room. You could change the forest you go to. You could just see, and then just notice if anything happens that's different. And then I'd like you to write down what you changed and what the response was. Okay, what was different? And my hypothesis is that if everybody shows up in a very fresh way, changing something, it will increase the level of engagement and intimacy and allow more physical healing to occur. Maybe not in you, but in somebody else. Maybe in you. So we'll see. All right, let's start. So if you're watching. So that was the teaching portion of this, of a Facebook Live group distance healing. You're very welcome to join the actual healing, but I only publish it inside Facebook for like 30 days. What you just saw was the teaching portion that got us resonating together so that we could be effective distance healers together. Please, I'd invite you to energetically or spiritually like, subscribe, and comment to this video. And what I mean by that is, as you hit the like button, really sense that you're not just liking it, but that you are helping others who this may serve connect to it. So it's about you, but it's about a community too. And then when you hit the subscribe button, or if you're already subscribed, really feel yourself enter into the room, the club, the container of those who are subscribed to my channel, and feel the nourishment of that and contribute nourishment to that, so that you can so it's not just like an algorithm that hits you, that there's actually an energetic connection to the group. Also, now that you've subscribed, you've hit that subscribe button, I have a little gift for you. And to collect this gift, like if we were in a room, you might have to go over to that table over there and collect your little gift. But the way you collect your little gift here in this YouTube channel is down below. You find a link to the bonus, to the YouTube subscribers bonus. You click on that, there's a little form you fill in, and we send the link to your email. All right, and then I think the bonus is about how to visualize, just some nuances of some pretty cool ways to activate your visualizing so that it connects spiritually to a deeper aspect of reality than only a superficial visualization might. All right, and then please also comment, and please comment with the spiritual gesture of making a contribution to others and also to yourself. Whenever we kind of summarize what we learned, or we distill something out of a video, we benefit from the video like a million times more. It really, really amplifies, and it just takes a moment to do that. So I encourage you to do that too. And welcome.